Luke 14:11 says, "For whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted." From the ashes of broken choices and the weight of a life fallen apart, God opened a door no man could shut. I arrived here in North Dakota with nothing but a bus ticket, a satchel, and a mustard seed of faith. Psalms 37 says, "Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholds him with his hand." This land, these fields, this is where redemption begins. Deuteronomy 31:6 states, "He will never leave you nor forsake you." 1 acre, one contract, one long month at a time. This is a story of rebuilding from nothing, a journey of humility, grit, and the unshakable truth that when God upholds you, even a fall isn't the end. It's the beginning. Welcome to Faithful Farmer, Humble Beginnings. Welcome in, everyone. How's it going? Welcome to episode 1 of Faithful Farmer, Humble Beginnings. We have lost everything. We are starting from nothing. We came out here with a bus ticket, the clothes on our back, faith and determination. So we have to grind our way to becoming the biggest suppliers here in North Dakota. That's our vision. That's our plan, is to go from nothing and be able to utilize a supply contract to be a supplier of goods within North Dakota here. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and figure out what we got for contracts. As we get our first contract going, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the rules. Can't do sowing, can't do fertilizing, because we got the byproduct, which I have no money for right now. Let's do this holding one first. We'll borrow the equipment. Okay. All right. Wow. It's not very good brakes. Anyway, okay. So let's talk about some of the rules for this playthrough. So right now, we have no reputation. We have no money. So therefore, no loans. And then right now we have on the contracts, we got leasing costs are set to max at 140. Yeah, at 140% because we're using the farmer's equipment. And then we have our rewards set at 50%. And as we build a reputation, as we grow and as we increase, we will increase our reward. The leasing costs will always stay that way at 140%, just because you shouldn't be collecting as much money when you're basically working for the farmer, utilizing their equipment. So we're not going to be changing that. That'll stay the same for the entirety of the playthrough. So yeah, like I said, the goal is to become a big supplier, right? So that means we're going to have to buy land, and we're going to have to work our way up into having product and goods and being able to store all those goods. And let's get this set up first, and we'll talk about all the things that we're going to do. Gotta do it ourselves, obviously, because we don't have. We'll do 2 headlines. These fields are pretty open. We can do 1. All right. Let's get lined up here. Lower this down, and away we go. All right, yeah. So that is the goal, is to work our way up into having a bunch of product that we can store over a big period of time, and then utilizing the supply and transport contract to be able to supply the goods. We're not allowed to make silage bales of our own. We can do contracts for wrapping bales, but we cannot make our own silage bales. It has to be in a bunker or has to be in a silo. We cannot use workers until we have our own equipment. So no workers on contracts, even if we had the money, until we have earned or until we have our own equipment first. And then we also can't store any goods or keep any goods until we have we have the proper storage facilities. So I know that might seem kind of obvious, right? You can't store anything unless you have the shed to do it, but that includes even bales. We can't just go out and make a bunch of hay bales or make a bunch of straw bales and keep them if we don't have a proper storage facility to keep them in. So we have to have the storage facility in order to maintain and keep the product. The essence of that being that nobody wants to buy, feed that's been rained on, and if our intent is to be a supplier, we want to have the best product out there. So we need to make sure we have the proper storage facilities to do that. We will tithe 10% of everything that we make. So at the end of every month, we're going to tithe 10% off of that. So we must live on only 90% of our income. And there might be some other rules that kind of come across as we get started and kind of see how the series progresses. But that's the biggest guideline. It's going to be a bit of a grind here in the beginning. Having to work our way up. The contracts aren't worth as much right now. And that's because we don't know anybody here. Moved from, southern part of the United States, and we moved up to North Dakota. So we're brand new here. We don't know the land. We don't know the people. Nobody knows us. So we have to work our way up from nothing. And might be a few months before we can even purchase a piece of property or, even a car or something to get around. So I have heard that there is a local next to the gas station that's willing to rent us out their property, or not their property, willing to rent us out a room for $300 a month. So we've talked to them when we first got here, and they said they'd be willing to do that. So we'll take them up on that offer until we are able to find our own place. I was looking at some property that was for sale in the area as we were driving up here, just kind of trying to game plan and figure out, what we want to do, knowing that we're eventually going to be able to afford our own property. And that is to purchase some land on the northern part of this region, which I think will work out really good for us. There's nothing on there, but it'll be a good place for us to put a small little building on and get started with. So we'll keep an eye out for that once we have the money. So we're gonna do a little bit of role play in this, but for the most part, it's not going to be strictly role play. It'll just be kind of a lot of gameplay. I would like to show as much of the contract work and as much of the field work as possible, in order to show some good part of the content and show the journey, the progress, the process it takes. That's what farming is. Farming is all about the process. It's a journey. Nothing happens overnight in farming. So it's just nice to show a lot of that. But as the series goes on, if you guys have any recommendations on how you would like to see things incorporated or implemented into the video, feel free to please leave a comment, and I'll definitely look at that and see what we can incorporate as well. But so that's the intent, that's the plan, and it's going to be a lot of contracts for the first few months. Hopefully we'll be able to get into some bigger contracts, a lot of bigger fields on this map, so that it's going to work out really good in our favor to bring in some decent money quickly, so we can kind of progress a little bit. But like I said, this is all about the process. So it's not about rushing it. It's just about enjoying the journey. So hopefully you guys will all enjoy the journey with me. And well, I'm going to go ahead and get this contract all finished up, and then I'll catch you guys after this contract, and we'll talk more about where we're headed and what I'm thinking. All right, well, we've just reached 95% on this contract. So we'll go ahead and get this one all finished up here. And then see what we got next and what's available for the next contract. As I was sitting here thinking about it and doing this contract here, I realized literally just going all across the field the wrong direction. I just started playing FS25 a couple weeks ago, and I really love what they did with built-in GPS. But honestly, I don't like how it sets up the course most of the time, but I never really pay attention to it either. So that's on me as well. So I'm going to have to really make sure I pay attention to when I set up for the auto steering, how it sets the course. I have to make sure I'm going, especially with how they planted it. So it at least looks somewhat realistic, you know. Not trying to make this look ridiculous. It's not trying to do super realistic either, but I mean, this was a little bit far above what we wanted to to look like anyway. We would have completely destroyed all the crops on this thing. But yeah, I will weed all the way down, I guess. I'm not going to go all the way across the field, even though we probably should. But contract is complete, so we're just wasting fuel and time here. Which does bring me back to one more point that we'll talk about real quick before we finish this up. Is I got it on ×5. I think I'm going to leave it there on ×5. We're not going to slow time down at all. I like to see the time passing by. I like to see, the days kind of moving along. It makes you feel like you're actually getting somewhere and progressing throughout the game. What I might consider doing, depending on how we're progressing and how we're making money, is I might do 2 days per month. But if I do 2 days per month, I'll bump it up to ×10, just to at least keep it going so we're not stuck and getting stale in 1 month for too long. So that's kind of my thought. But I'm going to go ahead and just do these last couple passes. I just want to jump in here and catch up with everybody real quick. And then I'm going to collect this contract. I will find us the next job, and I'll catch you guys when we all have the next job. All right, so we collected that contract. I did end up finishing the last few passes just because I felt like that was the right thing to do, right? If we're trying to make a good reputation of ourselves and show that we are good workers, we need to be doing the contracts complete even once they say that they're done. So I did finish up those last couple passes, return the equipment, picked up a new contract. There was I just don't feel like doing plowing, but I know beggars can't be choosers right now. We're kind of at that point where we don't get to really choose. I think this is the one that we need. It's kind of showing both, but I guess we'll just go ahead and start this. And I think we're not even going to do a headland. We're just going to do straight up and down. Since we're already here, let's just go ahead and get started. Let's set this up. Whoa. Hold up. Hang on there, buddy. Hang on. My bad. Okay, steering assist. We don't want any headlands. Headlands. 0. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. We still won't do them. What? No. No. See, this is what I mean. And maybe it's the direction that I'm pointing. Maybe it's me that set it up. I'm not really sure. But we're not going to be doing that. We're going to set up at 180 because that's what I want to do. I understand that, maybe on the field it does make sense to do it that way, but I'm not doing it that way. Well, if I can do 175, why can't? Seriously? Whatever. This makes just as much sense, I guess. It's going to be a bit of a grind. But I guess that's the point of the whole thing, isn't it? Starting from nothing, you can't get to be too picky about the contracts that we do. So we're gonna plug away at this contract. There is a truck waiting for us at the shop that we can use to dump the stones into. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this contract done. We'll jump back in. I'll talk about a few more things that I've got on my mind for this series, especially starting out. And I'll catch you guys once this is all done. All right, we've got our first load here. Just want to jump in and just share something with you. One of the things for sure is, oops, let's go ahead and unfold them. Got the truck parked in a bad spot, but we'll get this a little bit here. As I was, as I'm grinding away on this contract, why is it not giving me my lines? What do we do here? Why is it switched over? Oh, no. Oh, boy. Okay. That's one of the things I was thinking about, too. You got the successes and you got the failures. You're going to have things that go right, things that go wrong. And we're going to leave a lot of it in the video. You know, I'm not a perfect content creator, I'm not a perfect farmer. Unfortunately, mistakes are going to happen. Some of the decisions we make along the series are just they're just not going to work. You know, there's going to be issues and things that I'm going to learn along the way, and just going to leave it all in there. Raw and uncensored is how we're going to play it. That's what I like watching as far as content goes. When, you know, people are playing, it's nice to see that people make mistakes and that you're not the one that messes things up. So we're definitely going to leave that in there. But yeah, as I'm doing this contract, you know, the Bible talks about how God wants us to do things without murmuring and complaining. This is a grind. I know it hasn't been super long, but we're literally only 30% done. And it was either this or it was a plowing contract. There was a seeding contract, a sowing contract, which I thought about taking. But because I don't have any actual information on how much seed it would cost to plant, I didn't want to end up running out of seed, not being able to fulfill the contract, because there's a penalty for not completing the contracts, and we didn't want to waste all of our money on seed and then have to be in the negative for the contract. So we took this one. I think it was better than plowing, in my opinion. So I'm not really a big fan of using those actual moldboard plows, but you know, just reminded that we don't always get to choose what we do. You know, the Bible talks about working for God and all that we do, and that kind of goes along with finishing that other field. You know, we could have just skipped the last couple of passes, but we need to represent Christ in all that we do, so we need to finish the work. And even with this, you know, we're thankful God provided this field for us to be able to do. So we're gonna keep that mentality going forward. Some of the jobs were not going to be the greatest, or not going to be the funnest. You know, it'd be nice to jump into a big harvester and just go out there and start harvesting some fields. But we're in the spring. We're in the middle of getting ready to start planting season. And we have nothing. You know, our bad decisions led us to here. Our bad attitudes led us to here. You know, God's opened up that door for us to come here, to start over. And we're going to do the best we can to maintain that positive attitude and work for every individual farmer as if we're working for him. Because when we're part of his family, that's what we do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all finished up, and I will catch you guys when we are 100% complete. But yeah, I just really wanted to share that with you, and I just thought it was a good lesson that God revealed to me even just as I'm doing this. Okay, well, we are just about done with this contract. One of the things that I noticed on this map, as the truck was full, I needed to empty it. Well, there's no selling point, no buy point, or anything for stones on this map. So we did just use the Easy Depth tool and just empty it as we filled it up in order for us to just be able to keep keeping on. I don't want to put down an extra sell point just to go ahead and sell stones, which I don't plan to even mess with when we have our own farm. I actually have field stones turned off. I don't enjoy playing with them. I picked enough stones in my lifetime for actual farming, and I'm not interested in doing it at all. So we got the contract all finished up, all the stones picked. Don't know exactly how long it took us in game. Felt like forever in the beginning, but actually went along pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty thankful that we have it all done. So I'm going to go ahead and collect this contract, and we'll see what we have next. And I'll catch you guys back at the shop when we collect our next piece of equipment. All right, well, we have picked up this planting contract. We're planting sunflowers. I picked up this contract. I was looking at this fertilizing contract that was here, and I thought maybe I'd be able to do it. And I thought it was really cool. I figured out that, or I discovered that it has the usage down here to show you about how much it's going to take. And I didn't notice the cost of material up here, but I went into the store and figured out 5,000 liters of fertilizer. This is the overall cost, but the downfall is the cost in the store is obviously got to pay per 1,000 liters is about $9,600. So I didn't quite have enough. Oh, and it's raining. That's a bummer. But yeah, so I picked up this sowing contract. I just really didn't want to do the plowing contract. I was hoping to do the fertilizing contract. That would give us a really good boost in income for a little bit. But we did the sowing contract instead. Figured out about just under 2,000 liters, about 1,500 liters of seed. So we'll have a little bit left over, and we can use that for a later date. Well, we're going to go ahead and park over here, and we're going to go into the diner inside the gas station there and wait for the storm to pass. So, all right, well, it's done raining. We're here at the field, so we're going to go ahead and get started planting this sunflower. So another good thing, you know, with the rain, obviously it held us up almost 3 hours. It looks like we're in the clear going forward for the remainder of the day. So we should be good to go there, which is good. But it brings me to another point for the series. Only one contract at a time. I think we talked about that in the beginning. But also all contracts have to be completed before midnight. So that does limit us, you know, quite a bit. We have to deal with the weather. The weather is a factor. We're not going to turn any weather off. We're not going to stop any weather from coming. We're just going to play it as it goes. So that will sometimes be a limiting factor in, you know, what we're able to get through. But they do all have to be completed by midnight. Any contract that's not completed, there will be a penalty for. And so we have to be wise about what we take and when we take it. You know, some months we'll be able to get through more, and then other months we won't be able to get through as much. Especially with this map, there's some smaller fields that won't be too bad, but a lot of these fields are pretty good in size. You know, so they do take some time. But that's all right. That's good. They pay out pretty good. It'd be nice once we can get into some of the fertilizing contracts. Those all pay out really well. But I just really didn't want to do that plowing contract. I was just struggling with the idea of having to do that one. They take forever because the plows aren't as big. I just don't enjoy those moldboard plows. So I'm thankful this one came up. And so yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this field all planted. We might have to make a trip or two back to the store because we can only hold 600 liters of seed, and I have no way to transport the seed over here. So we will just have to make a 2 more trips back to the shop to pick up some seed. But other than that, we're going to go ahead and get this done, and hopefully we'll have time to get one more contract done before the end of the day, but we'll see once we get this done. Catch you guys when it's all done. So we are finally finished, or just about finished. 1 more pass left to go on this contract, and then we'll be all done. Just looking at our seat count here, and overall, it actually seemed like it was pretty accurate. I think the contract, we'll take a look at that just here in a second. So I think the seeder held around 600 liters times 2, so just under 12, 14, just under 1400, I would say. And I think it told us it was going to take around, oh, it doesn't show us. I'm pretty sure when I started the contract, it said it was going to take around 1500 or just under 1600 liters. Go ahead and collect that. That's all done. So yeah, not too bad. I did end up having the farmer bring the seed out to the field. It was going to take way too long for us to run back and forth. And I was a little concerned that we weren't going to get it done in time, being that it's 9:30. It was only 20 acres. Yeah, 22 acres. And that took quite a while. But it's all done. I mean, we were done with it before. We could have stopped quite a bit sooner, but we're not chasing the dollar here. We're chasing the reputation. We're trying to, you know, get a good reputation out there. Let people know that we're worth the hire, and we'll get paid as we're worth. Just like, you know, the Bible says that the laborer is worth his hire. So as we build a better reputation, we'll get paid more for our contract. So it'll be way more beneficial in the end for us to go ahead and do the contract complete. It was kind of hard to see with the tractor, but it's quite the bright night outside. Well, let's see what other contracts are left. We don't have a lot of time. Stone picking, absolutely not. We're not we're not stone picking at 9:30 at night. No way there'd be enough time. Fertilizing, no. Plowing, absolutely not. Not gonna happen. It's not that I wouldn't do it if it was 5 o'clock in the morning, even if I wouldn't necessarily enjoy doing it. I would do it, like we talked about, right? We are starting from the beginning. We're the ones that have to, work our way up from nothing. We don't get to be beggars or choosers. We just do whatever comes available, and we're going to do our best to do without complaining. So we honor God in everything that we do. I'm going to head up to the diner. We're going to grab a bite to eat, and we'll go check into the house that the people said they let us rent the room out. So I'll catch you guys back at the diner. We're back at the diner. So this is the house over here that they said they let us rent their room. So we're going to head over here for the night. We're going to go ahead and move into the next day. So that's really loud. But one of the things that we're going to be doing is we're going to be shopping the used market quite a bit. I do have I had the hire purchase mod. Let's look into, so I had the hire purchase mod installed. So once we kind of get through a month or two where our bank account kind of comes up a little bit, obviously right now it's 16,000, there's nothing out there, but we can do a search for equipment to try to help us, find what we're looking for. We want to, find something that's going to be worth actually having to get through some of these fields. Like I said, if you look at a lot of these pretty good sized fields, we're going to need something to be around that 200 horsepower or more is what we're going to be looking for. We want efficiency as well, but we'll see what comes on the market, see what's available. We'll start doing our own searches as well, having the shop look for us for certain pieces of equipment, try and get us, what we're actually looking for. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. I just want to fill you guys in on that, kind of how we're going to try to work the shop and equipment. We can't take out loans for the first year, so we're going to need to use that used market quite a bit. All right, well, like I said, we will be tithing on all of our income, 10%. So let's go ahead and look in our finance screen and see what we made for the month. A total of $16,000. So even though we had to buy products in order to do that sewing contract, we still made a total of $18,614. So we're going to be tithing $1,861 plus our $300 that we had to pay for rent. So overall, $2,161 is what we're going to be tithing for this month. All right, that money has been subtracted. I think we're going to go ahead and sleep and move into March. So from the fields of North Dakota, this is Faithful Farmer, reminding you that the God who shaped these horizons loves you deeply and is calling to you. God's word says, "Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened, that it cannot save. Hear, and if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness." If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next step in the journey of faith, work, and stewardship. Thanks for joining me on this adventure, and I'll see you in the next episode here on Humble Beginnings.